Alright, this is it. This video marks the beginning of the Tacoma transformation, and man, I'm excited. So I've built out two overland vehicles now. We had the Jeep and we had the 4Runner, and now that both of those are gone and we have the Tacoma, I feel like I know more now about how I want to build this thing out. And today, I'm going to show you kind of the very first few mods. I really hate the word mods because these are not really like mods. I don't know, enhancements? These first mods are not going to be your sexy vehicle altering mods. These first mods sets the foundation for the future sexy mods that I know are coming in the next week and months. But first, we kind of have to get a baseline going. Now, a lot of this stuff is in transit as we speak, so I won't be able to do everything in one day, but there are a lot of them, so let's just jump right into it. So the very first install we're going to do is going to be my command center in the inside of the vehicle. When I'm sitting in the driver's seat, I need to have access to my phones and switch pods and radios. So for that, we're going to go with the Rago Molle panel. These are the Molle panels that kind of go on the sides here like this, and I'll be able to mount a bunch of stuff on here. But I also got their bridge, and the bridge kind of sits like this, and I'll be able to put my phones and switch pods and whatever else on this thing. A lot of people have said that it does get in the way, or it kind of covers up these bottom buttons here, but I actually don't mind that at all, because all of these buttons here are pretty much going to be set the way they are. I don't ever really need to touch them, except for the middle button that opens the window in the back, and that I rarely even do that anyway. And then of course, as always, I'm going with 67 Designs. I have been using this since the Jeep. I've been using this in the 4Runner, and I've always loved their products, not just because they sponsor me, but because they sponsor me because I love their stuff. Start by engaging the e-brake, then pushing down the shift knob ring to unscrew the shift knob. Then with some gentle prying near the storage, the center console should just pop right out. Disconnect the harness on the passenger side and gently roll the fabric off the e-brake handle. Line up the Molle panel matching the lines of the center console and mark the 3 locations for the mounting bolts. Now drill out those holes to the appropriate size so that the bolts fit nice and snug. Now comes the hardest part of the install, which is getting the nuts onto the bolts from behind, but there's not that much room. So I can't access the other side of this through here, and I'm trying to use my finger to get to that. I got to this one. I'm gonna try something else here. My first attempt was to tape the nut onto a box wrench, but that didn't seem to help at all. It was too hard to maneuver and control it. I even tried coming in from the other side to no avail. My next attempt was to wrap tape around my finger with the sticky side out, and believe it or not, it actually worked better. I was able to feel out where the bolt was and get the thread going. Then from there I was able to slip the box wrench in to tighten it. I really wish Rago would have found a more accessible area for the mounting. Now I just have to repeat on the other side. Alright, so I got this side installed. This particular one was a pain because this whole unit right here is in the way. I was able to take out this screw right here and give me some play, but you really don't get much, and I just had to do the same trick where I put tape around my fingers and kind of held it in place, and I was able to finally get it in after some trial and error. Now over here, this one, same situation I dealt with on the other side, just trying to get to behind there. This one wasn't too bad, but at least now both are installed, and all I got to do is put that bridge on. Now put back the center console in the reverse direction you removed it. Put the fabric through the e-brake handle, plug the harness back in, and then pop it back into place. Now add the bridge, and good news with this is that the holes are pre-threaded, so there's no need to try and get a nut onto the bolt from behind. Alright, up next are mounting rails from 67 Designs. This just makes it a lot easier to mount all of your phone holders, iPad holders, things like that, and it looks super clean. 67 Designs makes them for individual vehicles, and this one is the taco rail, and when you put it on here, it looks stock. So if you ever get rid of the vehicle again, it doesn't look like you physically modded out like the dash. It looks like it belonged there in the first place. But I promise, the holes that we punched out for the Molle panel and now for this rail is the only time I'm going to be drilling into this dash, unlike I did with the Jeep where I was experimenting everywhere. No, that's it. All of this has been well thought out. I knew exactly what I'm going to be mounting, and after this, I'm not touching this dash ever again with holes.
The top trim removes very easily by just pinching the ends and popping it off. Back at the workbench, I lined up where I wanted the rail to be and then marking where I'm drilling. The nuts and bolts for this is much smaller, so I used pliers to keep the nuts from spinning while I tightened the bolts. One of the bolts, because of my placement, the nut would not fit because of a plastic tab that was in the way. I nipped it off but made sure it didn't damage the integrity of the clip next to it. You'll notice I removed the red piece on that clip temporarily, but I put it back on after I was finished. Now just pop the trim back in place. I ended up mounting another 67 Designs rail that we had in the 4Runner onto the shelf itself. This gives me the flexibility to position the ball mounts more precisely than relying on the pre-made holes on the shelf. The rail will house my phone and tablet mounts. The top rail will be used for vlog cameras and action cameras on trail rides.
Alright, up next is more of an aesthetic thing. The TRD Pro Grill. A huge selling point for me in getting a Tacoma was the fact that I really loved the front end with this kind of grill on it. So I knew from the very beginning this was going to get put on. Because let's be real, this should just be standard because it looks way nicer than this one. At least in my opinion. Now, full disclaimer, this is not the OEM one. I went on Marketplace trying to see if anyone was selling their grill that came right off of a Tacoma, and nobody really was, or at least nothing that was in good condition. And then I contacted Toyota for how much it would cost for a real one, and it was pretty high up there. And with this build, I have a certain budget where I'm going to be putting more of the money towards things that I'm actually going to need and not the aesthetic stuff. So I don't mind kind of cheapening out a little bit on non-Toyota type of items. Now, just a quick tip for all of you who are buying grills like this for the first time. Make sure you get the one where it's empty right here and you can put a different grill on it if you'd like. This was not that. This was actually like one whole piece, including all these bars in the middle, which really sucks because I had bought this piece from Tacoma Vinyl, which has like a bronze finish on the letters, and normally this would get stuck in here if this slot was empty. However, because it is one piece, I can't do that. They do give you the letters though, and I spray painted them gold because I wanted that look, and then I just covered it with a lot of clear coat to make sure that it protects it from any rocks or debris that might hit this when we're driving down the road. I love how this thing looks. I just wish that I would have bought the one where I can switch out the middle anytime I wanted.
To remove the grill, start by using an Allen hammer to slightly push out the clip that holds the wire for the front proximity sensor. Now disconnect the sensor harness, and I found the easiest way to do this was to use an awl to gently pry the sides. Now unscrew the two main bolts at the top holding the grill in place, and then remove the pop rivets on each end by prying up the middle with a flathead screwdriver. From there, the grill will come off. You just have to wiggle it slightly so the clips at the bottom come out of the slots. There are some zip tie clips that are holding the sensor module wires to the grill. Go ahead and cut those off, but be careful not to cut the wires itself. Unscrew the 3 bolts that mounts the module. Set it aside as you'll install it into the new grill. There are a bunch of screws all along the edge you'll need to remove, and once you do, you'll be able to pop out all the clips holding the grill to the frame. Now pop the new grill onto the frame. The thing that concerns me about this particular grill though is there are no mounting holes for those screws, and it's only held on by the clips. I'm hoping that it's enough. With this grill, there is a piece you can pop off if you're reinstalling the proximity sensor, which I plan to do. It is then replaced by a flatter faux piece. Now reinstall the sensor and place the whole assembly back on the vehicle. Reattach the bolts and 2 pop rivets, then find a clean way to route the sensor wire again using zip ties, and that's it.
Alright, up next are floor liners, and honestly, I don't even care what company you go with. If you're planning on taking your vehicle off-road, you don't want to be using those carpeted floor mats that your vehicle came with. You're going to be going in and out of your vehicle, mud, water, dirt, you're going to be tracking all that stuff into the vehicle, and having a set of rubberized floor mats are just going to protect the floor of your vehicle a lot better. Me, I'm going with Lasfit, and I'm gonna be honest, when Lasfit hit me up years ago to try out the Lasfit liners on the Jeep, I was like, why? You guys make bulbs and off-road lights, why are you in the floor liner business? But I tried them out anyway, and they fit the Jeep way better than the more well-known brand that we all know about. Just the way that the sides of these, they didn't get deformed or curled in like the other brand did, and it just fit so well. It sat flat, it didn't bubble up. So that's exactly what I'm going to install on the Tacoma also, because I just think they work really well. Yeah, don't use this.
Since we're talking about Lasfit, I decided to upgrade my interior lights to Lasfit LED bulbs. This will just give me better illumination than the stock halogen bulbs, and trust me, it makes a huge difference.
Let's just do a quick walk around on things that I've done. We got front grille. I think this looks really good. I'm really hoping that this grill will stand the test of time and pretty much work out well, and I don't have to buy the actual TRD Pro one in the future. And then right over here I have that Lasfit bed liner. Looks really good, fits really well, but I will say it's probably going to be temporary, just because when we get a canopy on this thing, I would love to get a bed rug, which is going to be a little bit more comfortable on our feet if we use this as a living space. But at least for now, this will help protect the bed. Now, what's not going to be temporary are these Lasfit liners. I mean, just look how well they fit. And I can attest from past experience that these are going to last you. They're not going to get deformed. They're not going to get curled up. You know, a lot of liners, they tend to just come up to the edge right here and then come up like this. And then after a while, they start to kind of turn inwards, whereas Lasfit actually took the time to go over the door trim so it rests right on there flat. Even in the back, they fit really well. I mean, right here, look, it just comes up to like right there. You're getting a really good seal, and you're really going to be protecting your floors with these things. Speaking of Lasfit, I did replace those dome lights and the map lights above with Lasfit bulbs. They're just much brighter than stock and provides a lot more illumination. Then right over here, I reinstalled my seatback Molle panel, got my Medic first aid kit at the very top, got my TJM tire deflator here, and my TJM tire pressure gauge here for easy access, got my Midland GXT 67 Pro, that always goes with me, bought a little Molle bag here for bottles so my son can use that, and then got a Molle bag here for headlamps. Then of course my Primo Works armrest always comes with me. I got one over here and then one on the other side. And then down here, this is interesting. This is called like the Gorilla Grip or something like that. I found it on Amazon. But the way it works is you drop it into a cup holder and then you turn the whole thing, and then these little clamps down here start to open up, and that's how you get like a really good grip. See how this thing won't come out? And then there's levers here that when you turn this, that balloons these clamps open and close, so you can fit different size water bottles, even a coffee cup. I had this in the Jeep because I was using it specifically for my coffee cup, but in the Tacoma, like these cup holders don't fit my water bottle at all. Like they're kind of horrible. And so I had to put this on so that it can open up and I can fit my water bottle in there. And then finally, of course, I have my new command center, which I'm absolutely loving. Got that Rago Molle panel that goes along the sides for mounting, and then it has that shelf. I mean, I was worried myself too because it does cover up those buttons. But in the last week or so that I've been driving around with this, I haven't needed to press those buttons at all. I've already set it. So I don't mind it blocking it, as I don't need access to it. I did put that 67 design rail that was in the 4Runner, and that allowed me to mount my phone holder here, and then a phone holder for my wife. And then in the middle we put the iPad mount. The iPad mount right now is facing towards me because I use it for navigation, but if my son wants to watch movies, I can easily swing this out that way. I did put a cold shoe at the very top because I do a lot of vlogging in the vehicle, and I mount a microphone there, so that way the microphone's closer to me, pointing to me, and gives me just better quality in the vehicle. And then at the very top, got the taco rail from 67 Designs. This is more for my media stuff, so my camera is going to go right there. Action camera right here. And then I just put an extra ball here in case I need it to mount anything else in the future. But that's it, my Tacoma first mods. I did try to not be as invasive as possible and only drill holes where I need to drill holes. I don't want to destroy this vehicle the way I did with the Jeep with all of my experimenting. I really like what Tacoma has done to their interior, and I want to kind of keep it that way and keep it as original as possible. The really cool stuff is coming here in the next few weeks and months, so make sure you stick around for that. In the meantime, let me know in the comments below what are the first few things that you like to do to a vehicle when you first get it. I'm interested to see what kind of process you guys go through when you start out with a stock vehicle. In the meantime, I gotta go because I'm working on some electrical stuff on this vehicle now, and that video is coming out here in the next few days, so I gotta get to it.